Liberty Foundation helps people who have had experience of trauma in their lives.
We utilize the healing power of horses to help veterans, first responders, people who have suffered abuse, neglect, accidents, poverty, anything that creates trauma in someone's life.
They work with horses to help them process events that maybe they never had a chance to process before. Traumatic events have a way of just never leaving you.
A lot of times a veteran will come home and they have so many problems. They can't get themselves to work, or they can't have relationships with people.
One of the biggest things that is affected in trauma is relationships, both relationships with ourselves and also relationships, with others. Trauma disrupts that, and so horses, being herd animals, know how to do relationships. They're masters of it, and in building relationships with horses, we can help actually repair the disruption in relationships people have with themselves.
The most important thing to realize is it's not about riding. The horses are not trained to be anything other than what they are naturally.
You can, make a mistake with a horse and change how you approach them, and they will respond differently immediately. They're not judgmental. They don't hold grudges. They respond to a person or another horse in the moment. And so as we change, they change in their response to us. So, that's a lot easier to build relationship with than people. Asking for what we want or what we need is something that a lot of people really struggle with.
The fact that it's not word related is part of what makes it so effective. You're not forced into a room and said, okay, we have 45 minutes, tell me what's bothering you.
If people are dealing with, say, a lot of inner anger that they don't like to express, the horses know what you feel like inside and you can't hide it.
The horses help me address a fear and all kinds of things that I could never talk about because I felt somehow blocked. Horses are not blocked.
The horses are actually tapping into the energy and emotions that's going on inside of the person. Most horses in a general calm state will be doing this. They're grazing.
They have to be able to eat 18 to 20 hours a day. They need to be able to be in a calm state in order to digest. As we know, if we're stressed out, we don't digest. And for a horse, in a very short period of time, that will become fatal. Horses are prey animals. So, in the wild, horses have to be very alert, vigilant, and keep themselves safe, but then be able to go, as we say, go back to grazing, to be able to calm down. So they can escalate, they can have fear, they can have a response, but they calm back down. And what happens with people, especially with PTSD, is we get in a hypervigilant state and we don't calm down. So horses are excellent teachers in helping people to be able to learn to be aware of their nervous system, dysregulation, and then regulate it. Does a lot of work with veterans because they'll relate to the scar on the outside, that connects with the scars on the inside. So, and he really is, animals won't get PTSD for the most part if they can escape the danger. But you put a horse in a stall and abuse them, they can't escape, so they will respond in the same way a human will.
An animal can sense you better than a human can. A human just listens to you. An animal can sense you. So if you're around a horse and you have anxiety, the horse will kind of mimic your perceptions. It kind of gets a veteran, or like anybody, to see that they are anxious even when they don't believe they are.
I am a military mom. I have 2 sons that served, and I know what working with horses meant to one of my sons in particular, who has been diagnosed with PTSD. He worked with horses, and it was fabulous to see his face light up when he talked about Emerald, and in a way that horse really pulled him through some difficult times when he came back. It's difficult for the veterans coming back to talk about what happened, and it's really hard for family members to hear about what happened.
I was there for 10 months. As soon as you come back home, it's a completely different vibe. You can literally be like in Iraq one day, and then like 3 days later, like you're at the mall. You're always worried that something is going to happen. So if I'm walking down the street, I could have ice fall down and hit me. So I'm constantly kind of paying attention to your surroundings.
I've seen people who, were so hypervigilant, they can't make eye contact and they're shaking and, they can't go anywhere. And I've seen them through having these positive experiences and working with the horses and with the trauma therapy that we do, I've seen them be able to live their lives.
This group of veterans had to build an obstacle and get their group of horses to go over this obstacle. And they were very aggressive and used a lot of anger energy to get this to happen. And the horses started galloping around them in a mad circle. And we watched how the horses stayed to the outside edge and the clients actually gravitated to the middle. And the clients figured out that they had to calm down. And once they did, then the horses did.
Horses pick up on energy. The thing for horses is incongruence, right? So it's when the inside and the outside don't match.
A lot of people can say, oh, I'm fine, and if they're not fine inside, the horse will tell you.
Because if you're asking the horse to do something and you don't really want them to do it, or there's a part of you that doesn't, the horse isn't going to do it, because you're being incongruent.
So Wednesday night, I come every Wednesday to go horseback riding, and Rock was really up and high and just pointed ears and looking at everything, and I thought, oh my gosh, what's wrong with Rock? I got on him, he's still all spooky, and I'm like, and Corey looked at me and said, how are you doing? And with that, I started kind of explaining my whole day and all the other things that were worrying me. And once I kind of gave up and said why I was stressed out, Rock calmed down, I calmed down, and we had a great ride. And that's the power, that's the magic of horses, because they understand so well what we're feeling a lot faster than what we're telling anybody.
I learned a lot about how to deal with pressure and horses. The amount of pressure you give a horse is important, and the amount of pressure you give a person is important, which I never knew. So I would ask the horse to do something, walk or whatever it is, and the horse wouldn't do it, and I would say, come on, and I would yank it or do something like that. And then I would try something else and it would, now come on, and I would yell a little bit. And that just gets the horses more riled up. And then I realized that I didn't have to do that. And that the joy of just being around the horse and the process of my learning that I don't have to slap horses or people around to get what I want. She taught me that. So I learned a whole communication skill that I didn't know as a result of being here.
We have to be so careful of the thoughts that we turn around, because those are counting as experiences. Because the brain is experience dependent. So when we have a lot of negative experiences, real or imagined, or the ones we go over in our head, then we actually create this negativity bias. So what we want to do is actually bring in some positive experiences and really anchor them there. And the more that people can do that, then the balance starts to shift. It's helping the nervous system and the brain literally to change by creating more and more positive experiences, both in the moment, because we have the positive experience with the horses, but also then we want them to take that with them and practice with it.
I was very nervous when I would come here, but when I would leave here, I cannot tell you the magic that happened every time I left here. There was no anxiety.
When you're with the animal, I think it's easier to kind of let your guard down, because you're so focused on the animal itself.
So I have to be really aware of how I'm feeling in order to communicate to the horse. And that's what people suffering from trauma often are either not aware of what they're feeling or they can't manage it. Right? And so when they're angry everywhere. When they're depressed everywhere. When they're panicked everywhere. And so in doing this work, we really, enable people to not only have emotional awareness, but then also emotional regulation.
I would hope that like most veterans would actually go through a program like that. I think there should be more programs like this.
The goal of the foundation is to raise as much money and awareness so that, we can not turn people away. So that when people are suffering and the horses can help, we can provide them with that service.
The need is tremendous, partly because horses are not inexpensive.
One, they have to be owned by people that are willing to do this, to let the horses be used for therapy. And two, they have to be horses that are willing and able to walk through with people their issues. Not every horse can deal with other people's issues. Like not every person can deal with other people's issues. The horses behind me are the therapy horses. And the more we can grow that herd, the more people we can help.
So to be able to really help people, find joy and live a life worth living, that's, who wants to turn people away when you know that you can help them?
This place means peace. This place means I'm accepted for exactly who I am. And it also is a place of encouragement.
The people are wonderful. The place is beautiful.
There's some kind of aura Amity Farm has, some kind of energy this place has that it's really conducive to healing.
The person I am today is just calmer, just knows how to be, and I am lucky. And lucky isn't the word. It's beyond words.